Hey guys, this is me, Zach Steele, and it's Tyler Hobart. We'll be going through the Week 13 start-sit video. We'll just cover the top 5 players at each position, and then we've each selected somebody that we think is going to outperform where consensus rankings are this week.
Yep.
So to get us started, obviously quarterback one this week is Patrick Mahomes. He's been elite. Him and Tyreek Hill are continuing to generate more and more chemistry, and Denver's been quite the pass funnel this year. Run defense is pretty solid actually, but they can't seem to defend the pass. So if the Chiefs needed any more reason to take out their aerial attack, they'll be really inclined to do so this week.
hmm So we all know who Russell Wilson is, and he gets the Giants. So I like Patrick better at number one this week, but Russell's definitely going to be right up there with him, and look for a big week from Russell.
Yep. Then Aaron Jones, he gets Philadelphia, who's been pretty subpar all season, pretty much across the board. And Aaron Rodgers is just seemingly playing out of his mind every
Yeah.
week. He had a really tough matchup last week with the Bears, and it just didn't matter. So you can count on Rodgers to be an elite performer this week.
hmm And Watson's also been on fire. So Indy's going to be a tough defense, a tough matchup, but we like him out of all these quarterbacks the most at 4. So if you have Watson, I would go play him this week. Look for him to keep going. Even yeah, I wouldn't put too much stock in Will Fuller being out, even though it does hurt.
Yeah, I agree. And then at 5 here, we've both got Josh Allen. Obviously, plays a pretty stout defense in San Francisco, but San Francisco's a really hard defense to predict, and Josh Allen's been pretty sound across the board every single week. He offers a lot of floor with his rushing ability and his ability to get in the end zone when they get in the red zone, and he's got really elite receiving options even with John Brown out. So I expect another big week out of Josh Allen.
Yeah. So we got our streams of the week. I got Ryan Fitzpatrick this week. To stepping in for Tua, he's been a lot better. And what does he get? Cincinnati this weekend. So really just, I think if you have him and you're in need of a quarterback or you can pick him up, I think he's a strong option to go into. He has a great receiving core, getting a lot of weapons back with Gaskin. So I think Fitzpatrick's primed to have a pretty great game.
Yeah, I totally agree. My stream of the week this week is Kirk Cousins. He gets a Jacksonville defense that hasn't really been able to stop anybody all year, and Kirk Cousins has actually been playing a lot better as of late, and he'll get Thielen back this week. So I expect Kirk Cousins to have a big day. Of course, you expect Dalvin Cook to do a lot of damage on the ground, but I think the Vikings will score plenty of points this week, and Kirk Cousins could easily throw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. So speaking of the Vikings and Dalvin Cook, so I think it's pretty. Everyone should expect him to just run all over Jacksonville's defense. He's been absurd so far this season. So Dalvin Cook at number one pretty comfortably.
Yep, we've got Derrick Henry at number 2. It's that time of the year where Derrick Henry starts just performing significantly better than he did during the first half of the season, and what he did during the first half of the season was still elite. So Derrick Henry's in line for a huge second half of the season, last 4 games, and the Cleveland defense is actually not great against the run. I believe they give the 21st least points, so they're 21st worst against the run in the NFL. So it's a decent matchup, and you know who Derrick Henry is, so you got to start him.
So Austin Eckler at 3, he's finally back. 11 catches last week, so I think you can expect him to build on that performance. Not get more than 11 receptions, but to really put together a solid game against a New England defense that hasn't really put together this year, understandably.
Yep, for sure. And then at 4 here, we've got James Robinson. Magically enough, he's proved to be pretty much matchup proof this season. He does a lot on the ground. He's going to get 20 plus carries, and so you can pretty much count on 100 rushing yards or around that. He could easily fall in the end zone, and Mike Glennon starting at quarterback, and he loves to dump the ball down to his running back. So James Robinson could easily have a top 3 week this week.
Yep. And rounding out the top 5, we got Aaron Jones going against Philadelphia's run defense. Not the worst run defense, but Aaron Jones is an elite back, and he hasn't been putting huge performances together so far. I don't think he'll have an amazing game this week, but I think he'll be really solid and hopefully fall in the end zone for you.
Yep, I agree. So my stream of the week this week is Myles Gaskin. He's finally returning back from that MCL injury. They get the Bengals defense, who haven't really been able to stop anybody this year, and to make it even nicer, Salvin Ahmed and Matt Breida are both listed as doubtful for tomorrow's game. So if you were worried at all about Gaskin's workload getting eaten into, that's not going to be the case. So Gaskin should be aligned for a lot of work, and he's going to do it against a really bad defense.
Yep, and they have a bad defense as well. I'm excited to see Gaskin back, but on the other end of that, I got Giannavi Bernard. Hasn't been great, but for me, I always want a pass catching running back, if anything, if you're going to take a chance on someone. So I think Gio has the tools to put together a solid game, hopefully catch some dump downs.
Yeah, I agree. So moving into the receivers, pretty easy. Wide receiver one every week is Devontae Adams. He's getting a huge target share. He's really the only receiver in that offense that Aaron Rodgers wants to throw the ball to, and he's going to be the guy that they use to move the chains. Him and Aaron Jones, and the Philadelphia matchup doesn't scare you. You saw that DK Metcalf had no trouble with Darius Slay this last week, and I wouldn't expect Adams to this week.
Mm-hmm. So next we got Tyreek Hill at 2. Had a monster game last week. I don't expect him to repeat that, but he's going to go out there and lead the receptions for Kansas City, and Patrick's got to find someone. And I think Tyreek Hill continues to beat everyone over the top.
Yep. So that number 3 here, we've both got Stephon Diggs. Again, as we stated earlier with Josh Allen, San Francisco's defense is really hard to predict, but Stephon Diggs has been one of the most consistent performers in the NFL so far. He's the only receiver that's had 10 plus fantasy points in every single game. So I expect that to continue this week. I think this might be, it won't be the game that Stephon Diggs blows up, but you can pretty safely count on 5 plus catches, 60 plus yards, and maybe he falls in the end zone.
Yep, Diggs has been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So we got DK Metcalf. No one seems to be able to stop this man so far, and the Seahawks are really getting the ball to him whenever they can. So if you have DK, I'd be really excited to continue to play him week to week. I'd expect another monster performance this week out of DK against the Giants.
For sure. And then at 5 here, we've got Adam Thielen. Obviously, stated previously, Jacksonville's defense is really mediocre at best, and you saw what happened last week with Jarvis Landry putting in his best performance of the year against this team. And I can very easily expect Adam Thielen coming back from a week off to really have a big game this week. I think it's not far fetched to say he could score 2 touchdowns this week.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And if he doesn't, my stream of the week will get a touchdown. So I have Justin Jefferson. He's really been just on another level as a rookie wide receiver and been great for Thielen. So I think if Thielen, or been great for Cousins, and so if Thielen doesn't eat, Justin Jefferson will definitely get something.
For sure. And then my stream of the week this week is Devontae Parker. Last week, you got to see Parker break 100 yards again this season. He's obviously much better with Ryan Fitzpatrick under center. And Ryan Fitzpatrick will be under center this week. They play a defense that doesn't scare you in Cincinnati. And I really expect Devontae Parker to get a lot of targets. He's in line for, in my mind, a top 10 week this week.
Mm-hmm. So at tight end, really no question. If you have Travis Kelce, play him, and he's by far the number 1 tight end week to week. So it's Travis Kelce, and he's doing wide receiver numbers at tight end.
Yep. And then obviously, pretty much unquestioned number 2 is Darren Waller. He gets the New York Jets, who have been bad at everything all year, and Darren Waller is going to get a lot of targets. The Raiders really looking to bounce back this week, and especially without Josh Jacobs there, I'd expect to see that offense run through Waller.
Yeah. And so we got Evan Ingram here. He put together a nice week last week, and I think if the Giants are smart, they'll look to get him the ball this week, and in the same way that Philadelphia got Goddard the ball. So I think if you have Evan Ingram, there's a nice week for him.
Yep. And then at 4, we've got Hunter Henry. He's coming off a season high in targets last week with 10 targets. He had 7 catches to go along with that. And it was the first week in the last 3 that he hadn't scored a touchdown, but he still managed to get about 14 fantasy points. So he's got a really safe floor. And if he manages to find the end zone, he really could have a big week this week.
Yeah. So I think TJ Hawkinson also has a nice floor. He's been putting together solid games week to week, and I think Chicago won't really be able to stop him. And so if you can count on a nice floor for him, probably if you're in PPR, you hopefully get another 10 points out of him.
Yep. So then my stream of the week this week at tight end is Mike Gesicki. Obviously, we stated previously with the Dolphins assets that the Bengals isn't a defense that scares you, and they're in fact specifically bad at covering the tight end. Gesicki is another one of those players who sees a huge boost in value with Ryan Fitzpatrick out there, and he will be this week. So I expect Gesicki to have a big week. He could maybe find the end zone, have a couple big catches.
Yeah, so I got Anthony Fursker on here. Not tight end position is so weak that I think he's worth taking a flyer on with Jonnu out. Tannehill likes his tight end, so I think you have a chance for Fursker to blow up. Like he had one huge game so far this year, and maybe you can put one of those on the board for you. And so if you're desperate, hopefully, I think it's worth taking a flyer on Fursker.
Yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, that'll be it for this week's start sit. If you guys have any start sit questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. We'll do our best to get back to you before the game starts tomorrow. And next week, we've had a couple people ask if maybe we'll do a live stream, and we might do that next week for the fantasy playoffs Sunday morning, depending on our schedules. But if we're free to do
Let
that,
us
we'd
know.
love to do that. Yep. So if you guys would like to see that, please let us know in the comments, and we'll do our best. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching.